Welcome everyone. Denzel Rodriguez here, your personal finance geek of the 21st century. And in today's video, I have a special guest, a friend who first was a client, and now I consider to be a friend, and a business partner today, Benjamin Morales, debuting for the first time on the Finance Geek channel. Welcome, Benjamin. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well, Denzel. Thanks for having me on. Thanks for setting up this collaboration. Super excited about it.
Absolutely. It's a pleasure. And for those of you that are watching that have also teamed up with me to some capacity, partner with me at some capacity, and you have a desire to create content, get in the finance space, and you want to get on this YouTube channel, the window is open. It always has been. I've always mentioned it. And so Benjamin is one of the very few people that has said yes. And so here he is today. And what we're going to be doing is really just capturing your testimony to the velocity banking strategy, the results, what's it been able to do for you, and really what that has evolved over the years. Because our relationship starts as early as, I want to say, around after COVID, if I'm not mistaken. But you can tell me when you first started watching the YouTube channel, what was that? So I want you to take us to the origin story of how you got to the point of searching for financial educational content on YouTube. When did you find me? What strategies were you looking for? What exactly were you searching for? Because almost nobody searches for velocity banking initially. They stumble
Sure.
across it because they have no idea the words, right? They're looking for how to get out of debt, how to improve credit, make more money, save more money, invest more money, like, and then eventually, boom, they stumble in this small little world here that's been growing tremendously over the years. So yes, give us that origin story, Ben, as well as introduce yourself to my audience here, and we'll go from there.
So yeah. Hello, everyone. My name is Benjamin Morales, and as Denzel has already mentioned, I have been a client now. I want to say Decemberish of 2021. Which now that I say it, I'm like, wow, time just flies by.
Yeah,
But that's when Denzel really I invested in myself. I invested in what Denzel teaches, his philosophy, his way of doing things, and it's been just a total game changer for me and my family personally. So I don't regret it at all.
beautiful, beautiful. And tell us about your background, your career.
Sure. So I've been in banking, oh gosh, almost 20 years now. I've held like several different licenses in my time in the banking industry. I've been a loan officer. I've held Series 6, Series 63 licenses. I still currently hold my life license now. I've had different roles as a banker, relationship manager, financial advisor, and then the last role I had was a branch manager, and a business development officer. So pretty much all the different types of roles that one could imagine or one would try to pursue going up the ladder. I've pretty much done a lot of them. So I did that for almost 20 years, 20 years. And to your point, Denzel, I started my journey really just in finances, like I said, 20 years ago. But I found that it wasn't enough. The brick and mortar finance and the brick and mortar education that we get when you're in the industry, it wasn't quite enough. It wasn't what I was looking for long term for something that'd be really impactful for my life and for the life of my family, and now for the clients that I'm servicing.
Yeah, I find that very interesting when I speak to people like yourself who are in the finance industry from the perspective of either being an employee for an institution. So that means you work for a financial institution. Oftentimes you're in the finance industry, but it's almost like you're not experiencing maybe some of what successful entrepreneurs or other business owners or those that learn financial strategies for themselves to achieve certain financial goals. I find that very interesting where it's like, wait a second, you would think the amount of access one would
Yeah.
potentially have like yourself, and yet to your point, there's this lack of education for you personally. There might be products and services that are being provided to the customer and they're being happy, no doubt. But then there's you, the one that works for the institution, and there's a little bit of a gap in support there. So, with that, at what point did you start to look elsewhere
That's
for knowledge? When did that spark? Like, okay, I'm not getting enough. Why is that? And then you took the next step, which was seeking information, new
yeah.
information.
I think that's a great question. So for me, I can remember pretty much exactly. It was right around the year 2017, 2018, and I started just investing in myself and getting knowledge. Right? You often talk a lot about the best investment that we can make is the investment that we can make in ourselves. And so during that time, I started to read the book by Dave Ramsey. I am a believer, so I didn't have those kind of discipline down. But during that time, I started reading his book. I started really putting those 7 baby steps into practice, and I did it for so because very soon, that was in 2017-ish. I knew that in 2019, my wife and I, we were going to be celebrating a 25-year anniversary, and it had always been a dream of my wife to go to Hawaii. So we were trying to. I was putting all my ducks in a row to make that happen. You know, paying off debt as much as I could, being diligent, saving, doing all the things that all the financial gurus that they recommend. And then I just got to a point where I really got where the click for me really happened was when we got to baby step number 6. And if you know anything about the Dave Ramsey coaching, is baby step number 6 is you paying off your mortgage. So I had did 1 through 5, and I was flowing right along. And then when I got there, just something inside of me, and I think it had to do with the experience that I had being in the bank and being aware of refinancing, being aware of mortgage rates, being aware of resetting the upfront costs when it comes to mortgaging. I didn't want to go ahead and do that, so I just started seeking information. I got exposed first through the velocity banking concept through a lot of the people already that I may mention, Matthew Pillmore, VIP Financial. I got exposed to the Kwok brothers as well. Um,
What year was this?
that was probably the ending of 2018, maybe,
Oh, okay.
or rather the ending of 2017. So for the next year, usually about a year and a half from, I would say, from the ending of 2017 all the way into 2019, I was just studying velocity banking. And one of the things, like you mentioned, for me, it was just on paper, it was just too good to be true. So when I studied the concept, I was, this can't be, and I think that was the banker in me, that was the person trained in that particular world in me that didn't want to accept it, that there was another way, that you didn't have to go through your standard consolidations. You didn't have to go through your standard procedure in order to have a better financial situation and better financial outcomes for yourself. So it took me probably about a year and a half, maybe a little bit more than a year and a half, to really understand the concept and really start to put it into place. I think in 2021, that's when I acquired my first velocity banking tool, my debt tool, which was a second position HELOC. And
What
I did it with the intent just to test the water, so to speak. I really wasn't 100% sure, but I had done, like I say, about a year and a half of studying. I said, I'm going to do this.
what year was
We
that?
got, that was about 2021, I want to say,
Okay.
or 2000.
2021
I
you
think that back, it
acquired.
was about 2020. 2020 is when I acquired, and which was, if I'm not mistaken, right as I started to put it into practice, was right around the time during the COVID, like you said. And then
Hmm.
during the last part of that year, I had already found you the year before. I was following you for probably almost a year at that point.
Okay.
And then the latter part of that year, I believe it was, is when you did a video, and you opened it up to really take on clients that really wanted to go to that next level financially and really start to not just put this strategy into place, but some of the other strategies that you talk about and teach about a lot, like infinite banking.
Yeah.
And really, I started to look at it from a different angle. Now I'm like, wait a minute, this is making more sense to me. The more I study it, the more I practice it, is making more sense to me. That's what, like you said earlier, that's what created that passion in me to I went from I think I can do it, I definitely can do it, and now I want to teach other people how to do it, because I saw how impactful it was in my life. So you asked earlier about the impact that it made. I think once we talked, you said, "Hey, would you consider doing it in a second position?" That was, I believe, in October or November of 2020. I went and then I changed it from a second position to a first position HELOC. That even opened up the doors even greater for me because I was able to accelerate and improve the cash flow at that moment because now I was retaining all the money I was paying for taxes and insurance and all that. It was staying in our economy. So
Hmm.
from that point, fast forward till about 2000, that was in 2021. So
And before you
2023.
go any further,
Uh-huh.
also keep in mind of your background, those that are listening, you got a
Yep.
banking background. Is it okay if we name the bank that you were
Yeah.
working with? So PNC Bank
Yep.
is a healthy bank to consider for velocity banking.
Absolutely.
You had your HELOC with them, and then when we transitioned to the first position HELOC, we stayed with PNC. PNC offered a first position home equity line of credit, which I didn't know at the time. You're the one that told me about it. You were like, "Hey, this bank also does a first lien. Can you take a look at this?" And we're looking at it, and I was like, I see no issues. That this pretty, it meets almost all of the qualifications that we would want. The only thing it didn't have was the sweep feature of
Yep.
a first lien HELOC, like an all-in-one or First Savings Bank or University Bank that has that sweep function of checking to line of credit automation. And so what PNC basically had was a very large second lien line of credit. In the
Yes.
first position, we removed the mortgage, and you have the PNC checking account, you got the PNC HELOC, and you're just making manual, transitions in and out of the tool. And we were able to, I believe, lower your rate down. We
Yep.
had a fixed rate for a period of time, if I'm not mistaken. That was the real attraction there because now we're talking COVID 2021. We see interest rates fall, right?
Crazy.
They were super low, and so you totally capitalized on that, refinanced your mortgage. Instead of up, you went down, and then had access to this whole entire line of credit, of which you
Yep.
were, doing velocity banking even more efficiently with. So I wanted to, really
No, no,
point
that's
that
huge.
out.
And I'm glad you really mentioned that because that was and I remember the question you asked me was that, have you considered a second line of credit, to which I really hadn't. But then you talked about efficiency, right? And I know in your videos and your content, and for all those that may watch this video later, not all HELOCs are made the same. And Denzel, there's nobody else that can really break it down and give you the importance of why efficiency is so key when it comes to implementing this strategy. And just that one question and just that one change, that was huge for us because it made the efficiency of the HELOC like second nature. So we can move money from, like you said, money down or money up because it's all in the same bank. Money goes back and forth literally in seconds. And that was a huge factor in how a truly efficient HELOC and with the velocity banking strategy will work for you.
Mhm. So 2020, 2021, we're rocking with the second lien HELOC. That was at PNC, correct?
Yes.
Then is it 22 we get or 23? No, I think it was definitely 22. We get
That, that, that we got the first position.
yeah.
Yeah. So that was in February of, I'm sorry, January of 2021 of January.
Yeah, yeah, okay, yeah. So rates are real low. Do you remember the rate you had?
Oh gosh, 3 points. At one point, I think it went down to 3.28 or 3.23, something
That's
like that.
insane, right? Like those numbers are unheard of today in 2025. So we transferred to a first lien. Do you remember what your mortgage rate was?
Oh, that's a good. I do remember. It was 3.875 back at that
So
time.
it was higher than the first lien
Yeah,
by just a very small gap,
it's a little hairy. Yeah.
but well in favor of the velocity strategy when you consider what you net pay in interest in a year. So we go from a second lien HELOC, which must have been at a higher rate at the time, to a first lien 3 point what?
3 point at one time it hit 3.23.
Okay, that was like the lowest. Okay. And if I'm not mistaken, PNC allowed you to like kind of lock your rate. If
They
I'm
had,
not
they
mistaken.
had a feature, yes.
Yeah.
So one of the features, they'll do a rate lock. They'll offer you up to 4 rate locks, and it's minimal. It's like $100 each time you decide to lock a
hmm
rate.
hmm
Yeah.
Gotcha. So boom, transition to the first lien HELOC. We essentially refinanced the first lien mortgage. So that's paid off. That was at a 3.75, you said?
3.875.
3.875. I want to say it was over six figures, 180 something, maybe more that
The
you,
6 figures, that the balance of the loan at that time, you mean?
yeah, the remaining mortgage balance. It
Yeah.
was,
So when we started with the first position, it was,
oh
I
no, it was
want to say,
actually more. It was in the twos, I think.
yeah, it was about 200, 1,000, maybe 200, something like
Yeah,
that. 200,
yeah.
200.
So it was in the twos. The credit line amount was what?
290.
290. Yep. So this is insane, guys. So we get a $290,000 line of credit. Go from a higher rate to a lower rate. That's kind of rare in when we're talking mortgage, first lien mortgage to first lien HELOC. That's very rare in 2025 today. If you're a Ben who locked in a 3.875 mortgage so many years ago. So you could be Ben today in 2025 and you're like, I don't know if this makes sense. Your gut feeling, follow that. That totally makes sense. First lien HELOC is not going to make sense for every single person, but here's an example where it was just absolutely beautiful from a rate standpoint, from a cost standpoint, way better option than refinance. He's unlocked 90 plus $1,000 of equity in the home. So
Yep.
we got a $290,000 line of credit. 200 of it was the mortgage balance, now paid off. So now escrow's gone, and we've got 200,000 ish owed in the line of credit, which he's now just plowing with all of his income. So he no
Yeah.
longer really has a mortgage payment, no longer has an escrow payment, homeowner's insurance that he has to dish out on a monthly. He's now responsible for that from the HELOC. So now we're talking additional dollars that are just sitting parked in the line of credit. And this is 2021 and onward. And we're still working at the bank at this
Yeah.
time. So I'm pretty sure you got a deal, as an employee. And so a lot of those that are listening that maybe work for financial institutions, you might get some inside deals, some better rates, some discounts, some additional offers, some benefits that you can absolutely lean on, and it just improves the strategy that much further. So that's awesome to see there. And I just want to take it to the whiteboard so people can kind of see the timeline here of like the genesis story was whatever education Ben was receiving from the institution, which was not a whole lot, enough to obviously get by. Then he takes it up a notch by seeking out information, finds Dave Ramsey, Financial Peace University, read his book, takes action on it, gets to step six, gets to baby step six. And this is honestly how I meet a lot of you guys. You guys are in the baby steps, and you get to maybe third, fourth, fifth, sixth step, even seventh, okay, and onward, and you're like, you hit a new block, and you're like, is there more information? I'm not getting anything else out of this. So then YouTube comes like the first place, or social media, and that was Ben. Boom, finds velocity banking, goes on a 1-2 year journey of research, right? Skepticism. We go from skepticism to maybe this could work to I feel like I understand the numbers now to let's test this very safely. Got a second lien HELOC, started testing it, and now you're like, wait a minute, I can do this. This absolutely makes sense. To then 2021, you now take on coaching. This is your first introduction to the concept of financial coaching, correct? At this point?
Yeah, the latter part of 2020, I believe, is when you and I spoke, and
Yeah.
Up on your price. So it was like in November, I believe it was.
Yeah, so coaching
And then,
slash,
yeah, we absolutely took off in 2021, and,
yeah,
you
we did.
know, yeah, the rest has been just amazing.
Beautiful. I love this. So this is really cool to just document this, and I've got tons of stories. And again, anyone listening that you're a client, we're working together, and you're like, I want to tell my story from
Yeah.
my mouth, all right? Because for the most part, I'm telling other people's stories when I'm mapping out the case studies, and so it's awesome to get it from the source, right? This is not coerced. This is like real life information, real life situations and obstacles and challenges that you're going through. And now it's end of 2021. You get the first lien, you're off to the races, you're moving, you're rocking and rolling at this point. And what's next? What other results start to occur out of this now that you're in the first lien position?
So at that time, I still had a healthy savings
Right.
in place, because obviously, through the Dave Ramsey school of thought, right? He teaches about that and making sure that your reserves are there. I think we had gotten to a point where we had maybe 12 to 13 months of expenses in a savings account. And that was when, through yourself and others in the industry, I started to learn more about the infinite banking concept.
Okay.
And
This
so
is this is
one of the things I'm so
22
grateful for,
now?
I'm sorry?
2020. This is like 2021, 2022?
So this is, let's say this is ending 2021, to like, yeah, throughout 2021. And then in 2022 was when we actually talked I believe it was maybe February, March 2022. You and I started talking. I like a lot of the things. When I tried to educate myself, I really immerse in it. I just watched hours and hours and hours of content, probably more than what I should have, but many late nights just learning it, right? Because, like I said earlier, it's not something that's common education. They really don't talk about it much. So you really have to go outside the brick and mortar. You also have to go outside, unfortunately, just the university, and really do your own research. And that's when I started learning about the IBC concept. And I'm so grateful for that, because I after being in the banking industry, and then now as self-employed, I see that I was underinsured, right? And I wasn't well insured, and I didn't have the right type of insurance policies in place. So again, through your leadership and your mentorship and following others like Caleb and some of the guys that
Mhm.
are well known in the industry, I was able to transfer those funds and start building whole life policies for myself, for my wife, and then our we have 4 kids, so all of our kids as well. My 2 oldest, they're adult children. They implemented their own whole life policies,
Right.
and we also implemented whole life policies on our younger children as well.
Yeah, so we put between 2022 and 2024 or 3, we put about we put 6 policies in place, one on each member of the family, right?
Yep,
Which is like just that when I look back at these things, it's like that wouldn't have happened if you didn't continue to grow in your financial education.
yeah,
You didn't
100%.
you didn't have arrival syndrome, right? Where it's like you think you arrive, you think you know it all, and that's it.
That's
You're
right.
like, no, I think there's more. I think there's more. And even through our relationship, you're like, I think there's more. And then, on this channel specifically, you could go down a few different rabbit holes when it comes to the different things that I talk about. So some people will just watch velocity banking content and never touch the insurance. Totally fine. But you get to a point where you've exhausted all you can about velocity banking. It gets to a point where you reach the end game. And typically the end game, what I see with velocity banking is once you get to the first lien HELOC, it allows you to really think, okay, my mortgage just got paid off in one shot. Yes, there's that balance remaining, but it's different. It's in a different place now, and I have more control
Absolutely.
over that debt balance. If I lose my job tomorrow, I don't have the pressure of having to come up with a mortgage because I have over 6 figures of equity in my home that I could use to self finance just the interest cost of that balance, not the entire principal and interest, property taxes, and insurance payment. That's huge. And so,
You
I think once people get to the first lien HELOC position, I'm like, you're at the superior position, I would argue. And then it opens the world to other things such as, say, infinite banking. And that's where you had the next graduation. And it wasn't just infinite banking from the standpoint of leveraging cash value, but even to your point, learning, oh, wait a second, there's this death benefit that we don't
yeah,
talk a whole lot about, that, and I'm underinsured and I can have the benefit of this insurance and also the living benefit of the cash value, and use that and almost develop my own personal line of credit that I can use and operate with. So boom, you go on that journey. And so we're going into 2021, 2022. Putting 6 policies in place is by no means a simple matter. We've had many phone calls together, strategized multiple hours of you watching content, getting educated, talking to me and even others. And we figured out a way to leverage both strategies to complement each other
yeah.
and not actually compete. They actually complemented each other. So that was awesome. Okay, so now we're on this with this path here. We're still working for the bank, right? And we're in the process of putting policies in place. At what point in this journey did you say, I want to help other people do this, right? You started your journey in 2017 of personal development or self education, your self seeking financial education. Now you're 4 years into it. At what point did you start asking the question, or was it influenced by someone else, or even me in a sense, to say, I feel like I know enough to now help someone else? When did that occur?
That occurred after my first full year of having the home equity in the first position, and just really seeing the fluidity and in terms of efficiency, how well it ran and how liquid it kept us as a family, our finances, how it opened the door as well to be able to leverage it for other things, whether it was expenses for the home, trips, partially fund policies with and things
Fund
like that. Just
policies.
it just opened up, yeah, a whole nother world. After about a whole year and maybe a year and a couple of months, that's when I really that desire in me to start teaching this to other people. That's when that got lit. I think I finally came to the point where, okay, I have this confidence now. I have this extra education, and then I believe also that I have not as quite as good as you, right? But that gift to be able to talk and teach others, and obviously being a person of faith and really understanding more now that our gifting is our purpose and our gifting is our calling. I kind of like came to full circle with that, and I put the steps of faith into place, and that's when I said, okay, I think it's maybe now another path and another time in my life and in our finances where we're going to come to the next step here. And I started really considering it more heavily, and what really did it was seeing you grow over time, then seeing other of your people that you have mentee have success with it as well.
Mhm.
And I said, well, I mean, if they can do it, I mean, I know I may not be the full, the best in terms of the knowledge and other things right now, but I feel that at least I have enough to be able to, articulate what I want to do. I feel I had the right reasonings behind it. That my why is important to me, and for not just for the people, that my family, and for really honing in on who God wants me to be as an individual. And so I took that leap. So I would say it happened probably uh, early, maybe mid 2022.
Yeah. Yeah. And
But
then
even
what?
though it happened that time, I was chicken for about another year and a half.
Yeah. Yeah.
I still had cold feet, man. It happens, right?
No, because think about it. Like, again, I want to recap this and take it to the board and just see the correlation here. Notice how, okay, 2017, we come across new information, and there's a time frame of what you said earlier, how you've got to immerse yourself in it. You learn as much as you can, then you go take action with it. Boom, that was with Dave. Then you did it again on YouTube with finding all the different velocity banking influencers. And then you took about a year or two, immersed yourself, 2020, applied it. Then about a year, 2 years of like doing it, boom, we discover infinite banking, immerse, right? Put all these policies in place. Now you're doing it. Boom, 2022, and then even going into 2023, you're immersing yourself in this idea. Hey, wait a minute, I think I want to serve people totally different. Like, I've worked for the financial institution for 2 decades. What would it look like if I started working and serving direct direct to customer? Because whether or not customers come in your door, it doesn't matter. You're getting a paycheck from the institution. You ultimately serve the institution, right? That was PNC Bank. So it didn't matter how many customers they had or how little customers they had or revenues. It wasn't on you necessarily. You had a role within the institution you were serving at that high level for the company, and you played these different roles very well. Then it was, after obtaining all this personal knowledge on your own, you're like, whoa, I could maybe bring both of these together and provide a transformational experience for some folks out there. And so you wrestled with that. And
Mhm.
from my perspective, I think what really did it was when you actually met me in person. This was toward the end of 2023, and
Yeah,
you
your
met me.
event. I
Yeah, you
agree.
met me
Yep.
in person at the live event, and you met other clients that had been clients for years, just like you, that were
Yep.
there with their wives, and it was like, okay, there's definitely something here. So going into 2024 now, at what point did you get out of the, as what, to your own words, that stale stalemate kind of a position, like you're kind of stuck or scared, right? You were using the word scared, nervous, to like, okay, no, I'm gonna do it. Like, when did that shift?
So I think as I look back at it now, and I've grown as an individual, and also growing in faith, right? You hit something on the right on the head earlier. Oftentimes we have a sense of security because we're employed. We're employed by a corporation, a company, whatever the case might be. So to some, it could appear as security, but there's also the flip side of that. Well, how secure really is it, right? I
Hmm.
mean, at any moment it could be taken away from you. So I didn't want to let that security per se go because it was all I was used to for so long. And but the more I kept watching content, and the more I started to expand the realm of possibilities, and listening to other mentors as well, I kind of like got pushed out. Now that I look back at, I had left PNC and took another position at another company, and it didn't work out there. It didn't work out there at all, and that was about April of 2024.
Okay.
And during that time, it just I wasn't in the right headspace. I thought I wanted to do the continuing on through the corporate. I was resisting, this world because of how, the fear, the present that was there right before me. So a lot of mixed emotions, right? And then it didn't work out, and so I thought I would go back into. I left PNC, and then in April I thought I would go back to them, and it didn't work out. It was just, hearsay. A lot of things were promised to me that didn't happen, and then in June, I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna start teaching this. What's gonna let me just start teaching this. Let me see if I get an audience that would even does this even make sense to people? Or that do I can I even explain this? And I started hosting a young group of adults, 29, 28, 30 year olds, at my church, and I just started really teaching them about this, and that kind of grew. They started asking more questions. I knew it would be a little bit foreign to them because again, it's not something that is taught, but that kind of like grew into a desire to then start thinking more about the possibilities about some of the other stuff that you and I had already talked to. I think it was around that time you actually asked me, hey, have you ever thought about the insurance world? And I was like, well, I don't know. That might be a little bit too fast for me. Slow down there, Denzel.
Okay.
Um, that was about maybe June or July. And then from that point forward, I started to learn more about the other side of infinite banking and what that potentially could look like in terms of servicing my clients in that way. And I started to see, and you always talk about a uh, a proof of concept time, right? So I said, let me just see if this is even going to happen, you know. And so I got one client, you know, and that was from I think in July or something like maybe August. I
Of
got a first
course.
interested client,
Yeah.
and we started talking, and things one thing led to another, and then that gave me some confidence to continue to move forward. And I think it was in October of 2024 was when I started the process to get my license again as an insurance agent. And by December of this year, I got my license in place. From that time now I have about 5 clients that I'm working with, doing the Velocity Banking coaching program with them. On top of that, I'm also helping clients through the life insurance. And then right around that time in October as well was when I got the confidence to launch my own YouTube channel. So since October, now about 8 months, I've been on YouTube. It's under Benjamin Morales. That's my channel. And through your, you know, your tutorship and you helping me, and I know we've done business with others as well. Just a whole group of really well intentioned people that the Lord has put in my path, like yourself and others,
Yeah.
that has given me so much confidence to at least, you know, no matter what happens from this point forward, I'm just so happy that I took the chance to do it.
Oh yeah. Big time. That I feel the same exact way. 2018, my leap, very similar to yours, was starting a YouTube channel, creating content. Had I not done that, I don't meet Benjamin. I don't meet anyone that's watching this video that are clients. Had I not done that one thing and ran with it. So in your financial journey timeline here that we can see on the board, is we discovered the thing right around here, right around 2024. So we're talking years of coaching, educating, building, self-service, right? You're building your own personal financial education path, right? You're paying off debts. I mean, could are you able to give a estimated number of the amount of debt you've been able to pay off in this time frame? Like,
So by when we started with the first position in 2021, fast forward 2 years to October of 2023, we started at 201,200. By October 2023, we were at like 90,000
mm, that's awesome. So
is
being
what
able,
we had. Yeah. I
being able to
remember that
build off.
specifically because then, you know, that year was the year that, you know, we had a quinceañera for our daughter who was, you know, obviously turning 15 back then. But I think that's the beauty of this tool. That's really the beauty. I've been able to take the funds that I had in the savings and put them somewhere that is more impactful, like in our whole life policies, and then just really leverage the uh, the uh, the home equity line of credit for so many different types of needs, and it's been there. And even with me not being in the bank anymore, it still gives that room while I'm building my business to be able to meet all of our needs, make sure that interest is taken care of, make sure that we don't put ourselves in a position that is going to harm us. But there's been so much flexibility that has offered us, and has really made it
Yeah.
such a great positive change in our finances.
This is beautiful. And now we're in 2025. You're building a channel. You talked about that. You started a YouTube channel. So I'm definitely going to have links down below, coming on the screen, in the comment section. I want folks, my audience here, my loyal followers, clients, go check out what Benjamin's doing on his channel, right? You're talking about velocity, you're talking about life insurance and your journey, and you're providing coaching as well. So you're now helping folks. You mentioned that you have 5 clients now at this point that you've been able to acquire through doing live events that you host yourself in your local area, and maybe a little bit of online as well. So that's super cool to see this not even, I don't even want to say full circle yet. I think you're just at the very beginning of the thing. So again, we've discovered the thing, which is this desire to want to help people in the financial space pay off debt, implement these strategies, achieve financial independence and freedom. And you have your own unique spin on it with your story, your process, your timeline. And here we are now coming together
Yeah.
as not just client relationship, not just friendship, but now we're in business together. And I want to
Nice.
talk about that a little bit. What has that looked like for you in just the last few months? So towards the end of 2024, going into 2025, I decided to partner up with Chris Kirkpatrick, Life 180. Those of you watching, you may already know him or seen him before. He's been on my channel a few times. He has a life insurance agency called Life 180 that he runs, and him and I partnered up to serve people at a high level. Another gentleman, Sebastian Boyer, came in on it. He was already in the industry. We teamed up, the 3 of us, created a group called the Kingdom Finance Team, which
Yeah.
is really faith-based driven entrepreneurs that want to serve people in the financial industry, whether it's velocity, whether it's life insurance, and other methods of serving people. And then you decided to come along and join in on the Kingdom Finance Team as well. Talk to us a little bit about what that has looked like for you. What was the initial, vetting work that you did, and the process, the education, the same thing, like you immersed yourself, you dove in, and give us the current position you're at this point. What does that look like for you, and what are your main focuses at this point as
Yeah.
we are recording? We're in June of 2025 at this point.
Yeah, so I think I give you planted the seed there. Like I say, I think it was in July of last year, back when I was still just not sure about it. And thankfully, it didn't take me a year and a half of studying to make
Yeah,
this leap.
notice how the timelines are shrinking,
Yeah,
right,
exactly. I was
folks?
just going to say that. So what happened was you planted that seed, and throughout the course of time, the things that were happening, with with the changes that I had made, and I was already getting immersed in this whole financial coaching industry and in that space. And I can't remember exactly. You mentioned it again, and like in a call in September. Somehow I got to talking with Sebastian, who you already mentioned, in October, and he explained to me about the Kingdom Finance Team and how really simple it was and what you guys are really trying to achieve, and why behind it. And I was like, that sounds really good. And so he's like, all you have to do is get your license. And so here, you want to get your license? Here's a coupon, 60% off. And I was like, hey, okay, let's do it. And so I started the studying. I spent all of November. I spent all of December. My gosh, that was brutal. Just studying to pass the test. And I wanted to be done. I wanted to come into 2025 with my license. And by January 7th, that was the day that they had opened to take a test because of the new year. And January 7th, I took the test and I passed the exam. So the rest has been history. Then getting immersed again. It's about every level that I found, or every challenge that I found, is I realized I got to get more immersed. I got to get more immersed. I got to get better. I got to learn more. I don't look for perfection anymore. I look for permanency, permanency, permanency. How can I get this education to become permanent in me so that way
I
it
like that.
becomes believable to the customer when I'm talking to my clients. And so that happened with Life 180, and so Life 180 has been amazing. Just the group of individuals there, like yourself, Sebastian, Chris. Looking forward to the event coming up in August. Meeting the rest of the team there. Their training, the way they have the training set up. Typically, every Monday I'm on at least one training, and then we have our meeting on Monday nights, which we get either training on different topics like some of the ones you've done on retirement, strategy, the actual carriers that we work with, and how they do things, building each other up. We do the presentation of what the Kingdom Finance team is, what we're here to do, and how we're here to serve our clients at that high level that you mentioned. And it's been just experience, the type of experience and talking experience. The Word of God talks about, we go from glory to glory, and our light is like our light of glory per se, right? If I could say that, it's like the sun, right? It starts to come up at the beginning of the day until it reaches its full glory. And I can honestly say that's how it's been for me. Not just the finances. I don't want to just make this about finances, but just as an individual, on taking steps of faith, on facing uncertainties, and really having, in real subtle ways sometimes, and also in real positive ways, encounters with destiny through people that I meet and things that I've learned. So I'm grateful. The things that I've been exposed to, no one can take away from me. And I think that's the greatest thing that has happened
Yeah,
in this whole transition.
absolutely. And so, with that being said, I want to hear a little more about your practice. We are now, you've taken us on a nearly 7 year plus journey through your financial experiences, knowledge, and wisdom that you've been able to obtain, plus 2 decades of experience working in a financial institution, PNC Bank, and all the different roles that you played within that institution. Tell us about what your financial practice looks like today as a financial coach, as a licensed life insurance agent. What does your practice look like? And who is or what are the types of problems, people you're looking to serve at the highest level?
Well, that's a great question. I think the interesting thing for me that has happened, and granted, I've been in it just since September is when the official launch date. But
Mhm.
what I've noticed is this, that I'm serving two types of people. The name of my business is Foundations City. So it's Foundation City Finance. It comes from the book of Hebrews, and it's the 11th chapter where it talks about Abraham leaving his own country and leaving the things that he was used to and familiar with, because he had his eyes put on a city whose builder, or the city with eternal foundations, whose builder and architect is God. And so I say all of that because I've been helping people set up foundations, and they're foundations that I want to focus, that they're eternal foundations. And when it comes to finances, you can't get necessarily to the next rung on the ladder unless you have your foundation right. So most of my clients right now that I'm working with, the foundation is getting them out of debt. And I'm using the velocity banking as one of the concepts, right, to help them to do so.
Mhm.
And the way that I service them is through coaching, and depending on where they're at in life, we do either 6 months coaching, or I open it up to a lifetime membership of coaching for them as well. And the intent behind that is to really get that foundation solid so that they can do things similar to myself, which is so they can then start funding their own lifestyle. And you can do that through financing whole life policies. What I'm finding is that the clients that I've talked to, in many cases, the only policies that they have established is the ones that their employer is giving them. So if something happens to that employer, well, guess what? The policy also is going to go out the door. And so I'm offering that service in that way. So it's real early, like I said, real early for me. But that's why I'm also on YouTube. I'm offering the market free content. sharing the experiences. Most of the cases that I put on my channel are real life cases of clients that I've either spoken with or that I'm actually working with right now. And that's, again, free education so that I can educate the masses, but also bring awareness to the many, many different financial strategies that are available for people that might want to be getting out of debt. And then on the wealth building side, on generational legacy side, that's when I partner in the whole life policy aspect of it, the services that we're offering to the Keenan finance team for either term insurance or whole life policies. And that's when I enter into this, what I consider like the second or third pillar, which is asset protection, risk management, and making sure that people can make the switch from depending on a strategy with like a HELOC. And potentially that's my goal. I want to be able to replace my HELOC with my whole life policy and be able
Yep.
to use that as a self-directed fund.
Yep. That's exactly what I teach people as well, which is like we don't want to become dependent on
Exactly.
banking products, velocity banking, as great as the concept is or can be, it also has its limits. Whereas
Yeah,
when you look at properly structured whole life insurance policies combined with other investment strategies, you remove the ceiling, right?
you
You're
got it.
you're dealing in infinites now, infinite different games that we can get into in the wealth building space. And then when we talk legacy and that such. And so I thank you for sharing what your practice looks like, how you're building, how you're serving people, because you're at such an early stage. And oftentimes we don't hear what that early stage looks like from bigger gurus out there in the finance space, where they're telling their origin story at an already highly successful place.
Right.
So it almost sounds like a bootstrap kind of a story. Nothing, not to take away from anyone's story, but it does hit different when I can meet someone that's actually only like 2 steps ahead of me, only 3 steps ahead of me. When I listen to someone that's 500 steps ahead, they're miles in front of me saying, hey, I did that. I was there, da 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 da. Here's how I started out. Sometimes the story gets diluted in a way where they're kind of summarizing because they themselves don't even fully remember what it was like. There's so many light years ahead. They're now giving their origin story from that perspective. I'm
Yeah.
asking you your story now and how you're processing and working with folks now because we're literally not even a year out. So it's very fresh, it's very authentic, it's real. You said 5 clients, not 500, not 50 clients, 5 clients. And so being able to capture that today is beautiful because then when we do content a year from now, 2 years from now, 3 years from now, and people watch your this piece right here, this piece of content right here, this specific topic that we're on, your practice, your story, your journey, how you're serving people, to get to hear it from you now versus when you tell it 3, 4, 5 years from now, it's gonna be different. It's gonna sound different. You're
Yeah.
gonna be you're gonna be high, you're gonna be way more confident. You're gonna say things like, I was there, I know what it was like. You just gotta do that, 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 that. Just hits different for the person that's watching right here, right now, that's about to start. They're 3 months from starting, they're 6 months from starting, they're 3 months in, and you're 6 months in. You're only 8 months in, right? You said September 2024 is when it was like the official sort of launch date. So October, November, December, January, boom, right? We're not even a year out yet. It'll be a year and a couple months.
Yep.
So that right there, I just wanted to really press on, highlight to say, here's a guy getting on YouTube, sharing his story, being authentic, being real. If you're watching, you're next. Like, wake up, get
Yeah.
ready. Get ready because if you're not ready, your time will pass. Your time's coming. And so if you're ready, boom, you're going to receive the blessings. If you're not ready, your time's going to come. You're not going to be ready and you're going to lose out. on the opportunity. That's the reality of this, of what's
Yeah.
at stake when it comes to each and every one of our individual lives. There's seasons where like an opportunity presents itself, and not to say that we have to say yes to every single opportunity, but there have been critical points in this story where if he said no here to Dave, then he doesn't find velocity. If he doesn't say yes to velocity, he doesn't discover the first lien HELOC interest rate that would have saved him tens of thousands of dollars. He wouldn't have been able to pay off his mortgage as quickly. There are certain things that we didn't even discuss. We discussed all the good in this, but there's been a lot of obstacles and challenges in this story, which Ben can share on his channel or to you one to one if he feels comfortable. But there's been absolute challenges and obstacles in this, such as transitioning, leaving security and going into an unsecure, high risk environment called entrepreneurship with a wife, 4 kids. Like that's not easy. That's not even simple, right? You often hear people online, I say this all the time, where I'm like, velocity banking is not easy. It's simple. It's
Yeah.
not easy. It's simple when the light bulb goes off, you're like, boom, I get it. Before it was super hard to comprehend, but once the light bulb goes off, you're like, boom, simple, implement, bam, let's have some fun. With Ben and your story, what I've been able to witness, I'm like, it's not easy, nor is it simple. This is like another level, and I'm so happy to be able to be one of the first to document it, have it on my channel, because I know it's going to inspire other men out there that have kids, that are married, that have an idea, that have a desire to grow, and they now get to hear from you, not a 29-year-old kid, no kids, no major obligations like what they may have. So it's going to hit different because you're saying, no, it can be done. Denzel's right. And I'm a witness to that this can happen. This is real, even in 2025, even in this environment, because you're building in 2025.
Yeah.
Velocity banking is not necessarily the easiest conversation to have in 2025. It was a lot easier in 2020, 2021, 22 when interest rates were super low. Now you got to do more work to it. And here you are doing it. And on top of that, you're talking about whole life insurance as well. So you're serving people in that realm. And that's also not an easy conversation. It takes time, right? And
Yeah.
I think about how long it took for me to help you put 6 policies in place. Like that was over a year plus.
Yeah.
And I know you're willing to do the same amount of effort, you're willing to put in the same amount of time to serve those other folks that are out there that need your service. So this has been wonderful to just capture this moment here in time. And I hope this provides tremendous value for those that are watching. And as we begin to close out here, a huge action step for those that are watching that want to build something in the finance space and you want to take the next step in partnering with not just me, but now you have the ability to partner with me, Sebastian Boyer, Benjamin Morales, and there's others that you can find a space, a safe space, community where we can collaborate together, we share ideas, receive coaching, build each other up. There's actually a business model that exists where if Ben gets a client, everybody on the team has the ability to win with that one potential sale, right? We have that model that exists. So it's really cool and you're a part of it. Is there anything else you'd like to add onto the topic of the partnership with Life 180, the training, anything that you feel would be a really good tip to give for someone that's considering joining our team, the Kingdom Finance team, maybe some pain points because this is a brand new team. We're making
Yeah.
mistakes, we're growing, there's growing pains. This is brand new, all right? Is there any tips that you'd want to give to the person that maybe isn't licensed or has a license and is highly considering joining, signing up with us after spending an hour listening to us chat about your story and your timeline here?
Yeah, definitely. What I would say is that you have to be willing in everything to give it time. You also have to be able And I think it comes from where your values are at, right? So if you value surface things, you'll probably more likely than not you'll miss it, right? But if you value things that because of what the potential that they can produce, and really on the other side of that surface or beneath the surface is something that really has depth and it has quality, and it's really going, like I talk about the name of my business foundation, it really has a strong foundation. Those things often take the longest, right? And they take more attention to detail, they take a little bit more effort than just the surface, right? So it's going to require you to challenge yourself and what you really hold true as your values, and that's the key word that I can continue to learn and grow more around when it comes to Life 180 is, what are your values? What do you want out of life? It has to be more than just about money. It has to be more about just the limelight, more than just what the world calls success. It has to do with something greater than that. And so you have an opportunity, because of the leadership and because of the philosophy of the company already that's in place, to plug into something that really has our earthly value, right? Because we live on this earth, but it also has a a greater value than this side of the earth, right? And
Eternal
that
value.
eternal value. Thank you, Denzel. It has an eternal value to it because it's not coming from a mindset of the here and now, right? Part of the eternal value that, well, at least what I've come to understand is, we need to constantly be thinking about the next generation. We need to be constantly investing in them. And oftentimes, the next generation gets lost because of the failures of the previous generation or the current generation, because of the responsibilities and the things that we failed to do. They oftentimes are the ones that pay the price for that. So I know it may be a long-winded or maybe a philosophical answer, but truly, that's what I've been receiving from Life 180 and its leadership and self and Seb and Chris and everyone that's involved. So you probably won't get that in a lot of other places, and that's okay. Just like Velocity Banking isn't for everyone, then it might be the same for Life Waiting. What we're trying to do as a company, Denzel already has hit it on the spot. We are growing, right? But I think that's the advantage, because we are kind of like on the ground floor, and we're growing, and we're not just growing as a company; we're growing as individuals. I think that goes far beyond just a company and the time that a company could have in existence. Is, how are the individuals growing? What impact are they truly making in the lives of the people that they're serving? And so, been able to get glimpses of that through Life 180. And so I'm looking forward to, like I say, the event coming up in August, and how I could learn and continue to grow from that and really get that framework that they talk a lot about on yourself as well. And really, like, what's the scripture that says, sharpens, what is it?
Iron sharpens iron, right? Yeah.
Yes, iron sharpens iron. So I feel that that's where I'm at. Like, I'm continually being sharpened, but in order for me to continue to be sharpened, I need someone who's been there, who's gone through the walk, who understands. And my job is to continue to be open to grow as a professional, and as a finance consultant, to be able to bring that type of level of service to the clients that eventually I hope to be able to serve in the future. So
Oh yeah.
that's that's what I could serve. That's what I
I
could
love
say,
it.
Denzel.
Thank you. My biggest takeaway there from that was, be patient, right? Exercise that patience muscle,
Yeah.
especially if you're someone that's doing velocity banking. You probably care a lot about speed. But when it comes to building a business and it comes to serving people at a high level, speed comes once you're on the highway, but you got to get on the highway first. You can't speed on the roundabout to get on the highway, or else you're going to
Right.
veer off. You're just not going to do it. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen. So you got to build up the speed first. You got to go slow to go fast
Yeah.
when you decide to partner up with us, because we're not just trying to serve on a quantity level, although we want to serve the masses, but we want to deliver quality
Yes.
to the masses. So we don't want to serve at such a mass level at the expense of quality,
You got it.
where our product and values diminish because we're serving so many people. We want to be able to figure out how we can serve at a very, very high level to the masses and not just maintain good quality, but actually increase in quality. Is that possible? I think it can be done partnering up with Life 180, what Chris is doing, myself, Sebastian, Benjamin, the Kingdom Finance team, and other organizations within Life 180. I mean, it's like a little world that's going
Yeah.
on right now. It's being built. It's very interesting. And Ben did mention an event that's coming up. So this video will be posted before that. So as you're watching, also in the links below on my website as well, you can sign up to meet myself, Sebastian Boyer, Chris Kirkpatrick, owner of Life 180, Benjamin Morales. We're all going to be in Arizona, August 21st to the 23rd. I'm going to be speaking there. Sebastian's going to be a speaker as well. We're going to be delivering a tremendous amount of value. It's not a life insurance conference. It's a wealth alignment event. We're literally getting your values and beliefs, right? You're figuring out what those values and beliefs are as it pertains to money, and how we can get your money to line up with your values and beliefs.
Yeah.
Oftentimes we are operating where money controls our values and beliefs. So our values and beliefs are lined up with our money,
Mhm.
either consciously or unconsciously in many different ways. We don't realize that's happening. So we want to flip that. We want
Yeah.
your values and beliefs to be the core, and from that drives creation, which is the highest form of wealth creation, is for you to be a creator because you were created by a creator. And now you're able to deliver your skills, gifts, and talents into the marketplace, get paid abundantly for it, and continue to serve at such a high level. So we'll close out here. Again, my name is Denzel Rodriguez, personal finance geek of the 21st century. We had Benjamin Morales in the house today, first time debuting on this channel. And keep an eye out. We don't know what might happen. This guy might blow up. I don't know. But it is an honor to be able to interview you at such an early stage. And that's one of my biggest personal desires that I like to experience, is knowing that, okay, this person may blow up at a certain point. I don't know when, hit a certain success point, and I can just be the guy that was like, yeah, I was the first person to interview that person. Simple as that. And so I've already won in my eyes. I've already received my win for the day. I'm very happy, I'm very satisfied, I'm full. And so now what comes next is the pouring, is the overflow, is the additional blessings that you all get to witness in real time. So thank you again. God bless. And we'll be talking soon.